What are you doing out here? I didn't send for aid. To talk, or to gain my trust? I don't know if you've looked around, but there's not a lot you can help with. The ruffians and goblins typically steer clear of this place, mostly because However, if you're looking just to talk, I suppose if Thorman had dispatched me somewhere eventful, I may not welcome inane conversation. However, this is the third time he's assigned me this route, and it's one of the safest roads in the Shire. Come now, there is much that can be discussed as we patrol. Do you know why we're losing the Shire, Outlander? It's not because we lack manpower or strength. We are 5 rangers strong, 6 should you pass the trials. But even 5 rangers is an excessive amount for an area such as this. In reality, 2 rangers could protect this land, 3 could do it with ease, and 4 would be near overkill. Yet this is not the case here, for reasons the others refuse to think about. I know what you would assume, that it is an issue with skill. The rangers here are young for their race and are limited in their abilities. A fair observation, we are some of the youngest of the Nunamorians, all gathered here to carry out a job that should be relatively easy. But where skill is considered, we are still rangers, and we can fight as well as the best of them. Well, unlike the others, I've actually been digging into this, trying to find our problem and solution to it as well. Want to hear it? Of course you don't, but that's not going to stop my ranting. It's purely strategy. We spend far too long reporting progress back to our captain, or waiting for the captain's approval before we do anything. That was great when there was 1 goblin sighting a month, but now that more pop up every day, we're just wasting time. We need to work independently, use our own instinct and judgment when it comes to making decisions. After all, if we're all thinking exactly what the captain's thinking, are any of us actually thinking at all? What happened should Thorman fall? Nobody would know what to do, the rangers would be in total chaos and we'd be struck down one by one. Sure, Biasel could take over the leadership role, but she's a second-in-command person and always will be. Unrivaled as the support staff, lousy as the leader. Just don't tell her I said that. Over the last weeks, we've seen more goblins and bandits in the Shire than we ever did in the last 100 years. It has become clear that if we're going to survive, we need to change our approach a little. Problem is, Thorman's a stubborn one, and all my attempts at convincing him have fallen short. It feels pointless sometimes, like a beauty salon in a dwarven city. That's a decent analogy. Might use that later. Hold it. Do you see what that man ahead of us is doing? He's studying the village below, looking for possible invasion points and weaknesses in the guard's patrol. A scout of the enemies, no doubt. Alright, outsider, you wanted my trust, go talk to him. I want to observe how you would handle a situation like this.
What you staring for? I haven't done a thing. Somehow I doubt that. What you really talking to me for? Know what the problem is with vigilantes like you? You're always getting into everyone else's business. Just buzz off if you know what's good for you. What? No, impossible. You're trying to play me for a fool. Of course you think I'll be too scared to fight, don't you? What other Oh, you're right. He's a ranger for sure. I can tell by his height and by that look in his eyes. Let's get something clear. I ain't want nothing to do with no rangers. We got no quarrel, you and I, right? We can be civil about this whole thing. I'll just leave. You'll be okay with that, right? Right. Of course. Now, I wonder where I left me drink.
I wouldn't suggest advertising your position as a ranger in the future. It could attract unneeded attention. However, Outlander, you've done better than expected and proven that you can take proper action when necessary. When Thorman gathers us to perform your initiation, you can count on my support.
You've come. This is good. It means you're at least capable of navigating a dense forest by yourself. Although I will admit I expected you here sooner. Are you ready to begin? Arrogance followed by immediate withdrawal? That is not a good way to start off. We're sparring. Buyer sale didn't tell you that? Some people read others through their words, some through their intentions. Others prefer to look at the actions themselves. I am of the last group. An action such as combat is the one form to which a man will reveal his true self, through the movements of his blade. Mercy, anger, fear, regret, they will all show in battle. You cannot hide them. I am curious how you'll react when under such pressure. At the end of our time here, you will have either gained my trust or my wrath. Either way, my opinion of you will not remain the same. Yes, it is. If that sounds too childish, you can call it a pine-elevated mini-fortress. It provides an excellent view of the surrounding area and the advantage of high ground against anyone foolish enough to attack. As a ranger, the elevation makes me feel right at home. I'm pleased in a way. But I can bore you with talk of my architecture any day. How about it? Are you ready? Rules are simple. I'll let you know when I've seen enough. Until then, we try to kill each other. You can use whatever kind of weapon you wish. Magic, swords, hammers, bows, I don't care.
For the halflings!
Are you alright? I may have gotten a little carried away. Still, you managed to stay up longer than most who come blade to blade with me. And there was nothing notably suspicious about the way you handled yourself. Alright, you have my respect, friend. When the time comes, I will speak on your behalf.
Be brief, Outlander. I understand you received the blessing from every member of my company, but the approval of my companions is only the beginning. First, you will need to test yourself. Return to me once you think you are ready.
Yes? Not at all. What's on your mind? Last time you asked what became of my father, and I was reluctant to reply. But, alas, I suppose I owe you an answer. He came home late one night from out in the field, his cloak dripping from the onslaught of rain outside, and the bottom of his boots worn thin from the great distance traveled afoot. This event wasn't abnormal. Sometimes he'd be gone for weeks without notice, and then show up in the dead of night while I was still asleep. His ranger work kept him occupied like that. I'll never forget this night in particular, though. He came in like he always did, calm, attentive, and curious on my well-being. However, this time something was off, I could tell, but I didn't make mention of it. As if he couldn't wait, he said it was time for the final lesson he could teach, the last doctrine that separates average men from rangers, but I never found out what he was talking about. Orcs. They raided before we could manage to defend ourselves. Amidst the chaos, I must have fallen unconscious. Still not sure how or why, just that I did. Probably by an orc club or a loose piece of rubble. When I came to, my father had been slain. A scimitar cut right across his back and multiple arrows scattered from his right shoulder to left thigh. At least he went out fighting, I suppose. He always said he would. There's no need to apologize. That was a long time. Through time, things change, and you find it easier to move on from the things you never thought you'd part with. But I do not mean to trouble you with my story any longer. There is plenty to accomplish, and unless you have something else to say, I'd like to return to my duties. Dragons? What are you talking? Such creatures haven't been seen in these lands for over 1,000 years. Let's not spread any rumors now. Last thing we need is for the Shire folk to start worrying about live dragons. Rest assured, if dragons were a threat to the Shire, we'd be the first to know. There's not a whole lot left to tell. What did you want to know? No. I tracked them for several days, through forest, swamp, and highland, but after some time the trail turned cold. However, even at that age I knew my limits. I couldn't take on an entire orc brigade alone, no matter how much I wanted to. So, while it was far from my first choice, my father remains unavenged. I spent quite a few years wandering Middle Nirn, tracking orcs, aiding villagers, and occasionally stopping in with the elves and receiving the latest news of happening. Eventually, when I heard the need for rangers in the Shire was growing, given my father's description of the Shire when I was younger, it had always been a land I wanted to see. But now that I'm here, several times, it was one of his favorite places to travel. He wasn't stationed here like we are, but he stopped in every once in a while. Quite honestly, I'm not sure what he saw in this land. Sure thing. Did you say something? Swiftly. Dark forces surround us from every direction. Are we to sit back while their armies rally, while each stage in their master plan unfolds? We would all be killed. Rangers, halflings, outlanders, it wouldn't matter. To hold off our actions until after their first move would be to imply we will survive it. But I ask you, what if we don't? Will not the Shire be in even greater peril when the Rangers have been destroyed? Well that proves not everyone's a complete fool. I'm glad to hear you agree with my approach to this coming danger. With Thorman's stubborn ways, I think I'll need all the support I can get.
Maybe later, alright. I prefer to focus on the present or future for the moment. I already told you everything I could. But I suppose I can. Did you know that I was the first ranger to form a duet with the lead opera singer of the all-goblin orchestra? Good day. Offensively. We need to quickly drive away the evil that threatens the security of the evil men with evil intentions cannot refrain from committing. Why wait until it's too late? We should strike before innocents are harmed. Bring battle to those ruffian scum before they're ready. I'm glad you agree. It'll take an extra voice around here to convince Thorman, Byersell, and Dursick that they're wrong. I'm pleased to see that you're on our side.
Defensively, only dealing out justice once an unjust act has been made. Some might argue that this is a fool's approach, and that such a delay would only cripple our effort. But how would we discern ourselves from the enemy if we struck without fair cause? The punishment should come after the crime, not before. That's good to hear. Not many rangers have the wisdom to take a traditional stance anymore, and yet an unblooded does. Times have certainly changed. I suppose I have some time. What about? Haven't we already covered this? Besides, you don't really want to know. Why must you persist like this? It's not enough to say You are much too curious for your own good, Outlander. It was a gift from an old associate. Did you need something, or are you just trying to find someone to mock? Yep.
Is there something you need? I thought you had agreed with me that patience, yet it has come to my attention that you have also complied with Forodon's. Which do you believe? Either way, I find it difficult to respect someone whose opinions change as often as the weather. Do not worry about the past. It can no longer be changed. Instead, let only the decisions you make with the time you are granted define you. I'm glad to see you've returned for the next phase of your initiation. I would ask that you seek out Byercell. She can help you progress through your training. Find her at the Bwinbale Woods training area. Then show me the meaning of haste.
Yes? Not at all. What's on your mind? Well, occasionally in Riverfell, the elves allowed me to tend to the wounds of wandering adventurers. They were surprised with how quickly I grasped their techniques, and didn't want that talent to go to waste. Over time, they permitted me to see more and more of the wounded or injured, about once a month or so. But then again, it is difficult to keep track of time. One evening, however, a particular ranger of importance came to us. Estriel was his name, and I was fortunate enough to tend his wounds. It's nothing like that. He was far too old for me. Besides, he kept his eyes on the half-elven's daughter most of the time. I was waiting for you. I thought you might never show. Yet it is fortunate that you did. My task today is to get you ready for the life of a ranger. I wouldn't have you think it is an easy life. Once you indicate that you are ready, you will be subjected to a series of trials. Each will symbolise a hurdle you must overcome before you may be deemed fit for your new task. Are you ready to begin the process? Good. The first trial is the trial of strength. I need you to break this boulder behind me. Most impressive. Looks like Durusk might finally have worthy competition around the base. Good, for we have... The second trial is that of morality. Say you just apprehended a man responsible for killing 5 goblins. The man begs you for mercy. How do you respond? Alright. And what if the victims were not goblins, but goblin younglings? I find your judgment to be very hasty, but I admire your resolve and your convictions. I will ask you to consider a more open attitude to your beliefs. The world is forever changing, and you should evolve with it to ensure survival. Thank you for answering these questions. Based on what you say, I suspect you might enjoy the company of Foradant. The next trial is that of mental endurance. Do you see that tree stump over there? I need you to stay perfectly still atop it for 6 hours. You cannot move during that time. As your instructor, I am forbidden to joke while you are under my guidance. Remarkable! You made it appear so easy. Quite a few. You do realise that becoming a ranger requires a considerable amount of effort. For the trial of wisdom, you need to answer the following question. What creature walks on 4 legs in the morrow, 2 in the afternoon, and 3 in the twilight of the day? You'll have to explain your Let's say that wisdom is not your strongest suit, shall we? But fear not. The correct answer: he walks on his hands and knees as a child, on 2 legs as an adult, and on 3 with the aid of a cane. I suggest we move on to the next trial. I want to ask you a question. What do you hope to achieve in the world? Quite well, but what if you actually achieved what you set out to do? What purpose would your life have then? This sounds like a realist's attitude. You are never done learning. Know when perfect means never sufficient, and appreciate the good enough to become content. You have now endured all of the trials in this exercise. I am quite satisfied with the results, and will report my experience. Thank you for your patience. I will ask of you to return to Thormin now. I'm sure he'll be delighted to see you. Oh hey! I'm not sure a love between us would only bring instability to this company. which could harm the Shire. I doubt it, but if you mean to try, I cannot stop you. Those words are kind. I suppose you say that to all the girls you meet? Really? I'm not sure why I mentioned our love as if it were a thing. Hello, Outlander. Can I get you something?
If there's something you need, I'm probably not the one to talk to, but I can point you in the right direction. Well, I thought you said you agreed with my take-action strategy, and now I hear you sided with Thorm. You can't play all sides, Outlander.
Good fortune has returned you to us. Buyercell delivered her report of the trials, and I hear nothing but good stories. I dare say that you are ready for your initiation now. Take some time to reflect. Return to me when you are ready. We will prepare the rites in the meantime. You stand before me with hope, I see. Excellent. Come, brethren. Let us introduce this recruit. We have assembled here to welcome a new sister in our ranks. Let us speak the words of rites and the offerings to the Vanir.
We call to Chesko, the Lord of the Winds. We invite Tamira, the Lady of Stars. We call upon Maldoran, Master of Deep Currents. We beckon Enigma, Shaper of Mountains. We seek out Eleonora, the Mother of Beast and Tree. We invite Mali, the Easer of Hurts. Finally, we look to the one who sees over all. We seek out your power, so that the one who is deemed worthy to join us may receive our secrets. Let us now say the ceremonial words in our old language.
So it has come to this question. The question that will determine your future. The question that you cannot evade. Good Outlander, will you take up the oath to call yourself a ranger? And so we welcome you to our ranks. May your arrival bring light and hope to a world on the brink of darkness. Take pride in your new title, in your new name, and in your new companions. And so it has come to pass that you have become one of ours. You are a marked woman from this point forward. People will look to you and expect better. I trust you're prepared not to disappoint them. But congratulations. I hope you are as proud and pleased as the rest of us. That is good to hear, but we have little time to bask in the joy of today. There is work to do. I am sure you will, but please, do not call me Master. Thorman will suffice, or Captain if you insist. I will not respond to the title of Master. It has dread connotations for us. But I need to speak to you on other matters now.
Hello.
Hello. Huh? Not at all. What's on your mind? I'm going to be honest with you. Earlier, when I described how my father died, in truth, he was still very much alive when I found myself conscious. I still remember how the pain he displayed turned into a bittersweet smile upon seeing me alive. He laid there, trying to tell me something before he parted, but no words. When he realized he could not speak, he managed to raise his arm and point to a small chest by the fireplace. And that was the last thing he ever did. The chest he'd pointed at was where he kept all of his treasured belongings. But when I opened it, only one thing remained: my mother's amulet. Father gave it to her on the day they were wed, and she didn't stop wearing it until the hour she passed. Or so I was told. I never met her. I don't know. For years I tried to figure it out. It wasn't like him to do something without good reason, but I searched every part of that. I just wish he could have been able to speak. Perhaps then I would have found out what it is he wanted me to do. I don't know what you think you'll find, but go ahead. Just, if you don't find anything, be sure to bring it back. It has a certain sentimental value to me.
I'm afraid jewellery is far from my area of expertise. You might want to try Durusk. He used to smith necklaces and amulets. Not at all. What's on your mind? The most improper job of any man, or even elf, is to boss around another. Not one in this world is fit for it, and least of all those who seek the chance. He insists that he is nobody's master. Nevertheless, his opinions are greatly respected among this company, probably because he often phrases them as such. And there's a lot to do. How about some time later? See you.
Yes? Let me see. I haven't seen an amulet with this craftsmanship in a long while. That wouldn't be unheard of, unless this is just a cheap replica. I'd guess the crafter of this piece was an elf. And if that's true, then there may be some kind of rune etched on it somewhere. Strangely enough, it hints at a location where the Brarywine River and the Scrag Dells meet, which would be somewhere in the northern part of the Shire. I didn't think the elves had much of a fascination with us, but then again, it's also possible this was made by a ranger. Always a pleasure to look upon genuine elven handiwork. If you find any more, be sure to bring them by.
What do you seek?
What? Let me see that. Father, you sly fox. The amulet mentions a cave in the north. I don't know what he tried to tell me before he died, but I'm certain this will be the answer to my questions. I can't thank you enough, Outlander. As soon as Thormund permits it, I'll set out for this location. I'm forever in your debt.
Maybe later, alright? I prefer to focus on the present or future for the moment.
The Shire is on the brink of disaster. We have several clues, including some brought forward by yourself, that a major force is trying to occupy the region. This warrants not just more investigation, but I propose we take action as well. Several members of this force, and I suspect who might be leading these members, have been spotted in the Shire. I need you to join up with the Rangers and halt their activities. Which one of your company would you like to aid first? There is a suspicious construction site near Haffington. and I asked her to investigate it. But once again, trouble seems to be following that girl. Just make sure she's safe, and if need be, retrieve the information I sent her out to obtain. She can make it back to the base on her own this time. Good luck, Ranger.